يلا 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 يلا.
Everyone and their mother has heard about the big news by now. EA has been bought out by the private equity firm Silver Lake, the PIF, aka the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Affinity Partners for the astounding price of $55 billion. Many people think this is great news, when in reality, this deal is something more akin to this.
We're saved! We're saved! What's your name, new hero?
It's Titan.
Thank you. Thank you. Titan has freed us!
Oh, I wouldn't say free. More like under new management.
What I'm trying to say is this isn't some Saudi prince just wants to save Mass Effect or Anthem or wants to play Titanfall 3 or what have you meme people think it is. Well, for the most part, because maybe there is a grain of truth in this as well, who knows. But my point is, this is just good business. Especially when private equity firms are involved, you can almost always bet your bottom dollar things are getting gutted and sold out left and right. What is more, this is an LBO, aka a leveraged buyout. So this isn't the great news people think it is, because this means EA's assets will be serving as collateral for the loan. Put simply, they were willing to go into debt to make this deal. So if they see a $55 billion price tag and think it's a good deal, they think, well, not really think, they know there's a $55+ billion profit to be made, both in the assets themselves as well as in the selling of said assets. And we're not just talking about games here. We're talking IPs, we're talking game engines, rights, and so on. I would bet that Sony and Xbox are probably jumping with joy right now and starting their bidding wars on which game rights they're going to acquire already. But the question here is how good or bad the selling out of literally everything could potentially be. Well, we will have to just wait and see, I guess, because of course there's a possibility of them waiting and potentially improving all of said assets, but with private equity firms, the trend is kind of always, take over, sell everything, make quick and easy money. So I'm not really of the school of thought that, this could be a good thing and they could take over and save EA. I don't think this is the likely outcome, unfortunately, but, we will have to wait and see. But let's stay on topic here and let's focus on the positive as well as the negative aspects and effects this acquisition could potentially have on the games and studios we have come to love during EA's golden era. Well, to the surprise of literally no one, the knee-jerk reaction of the more left-leaning gamers was to immediately cry, "Oh no, my pronouns!" Which, come on, read the freaking room. People think this might just be the only good thing to come from this acquisition. In fact, it seems like the sole reason people were celebrating was because this nonsense will not be tolerated nor funded once EA goes private. And let's play the devil's advocate here for just a second. Let's entertain the idea that EA truly wanted to course correct. The fact of the matter is they really couldn't, because they were focused on reaching those quarterly financial targets of theirs. Investors were also pressuring them to do what they wanted and not what the company itself might have wanted to really do or pursue. Their sole purpose was reaching those quarterly targets no matter what. So when combining the pressure plus the investor pool in your decisions, accepting some quick and easy money just by meeting ESG criteria doesn't seem that bad now, does it? And this is not unique to just EA. Publicly owned companies tend to make super short-sighted decisions all the time, exactly because of these pressures and need to meet these numbers every 3 months. Now, let's say we got some extra funding by meeting ESG criteria. Hooray, say the investors. who more than likely have no idea what video games are, much less play them themselves. The investors are happy, the game is a dumpster fire, and the fans are mad. The company is still going strong though, because on paper they've reached said goals through their online service games, ESG funding, and of course firings of employees and the shutting down of studios. This is a case of the ends justifying the means, because to them it doesn't matter how they got there, they just cared that they made those goals. In fact, the sheer amount of money any publicly owned company needs to pay just the accountants and the team collecting and keeping track of these goals every 3 months is just absurd on its own. Privately owned companies, however, do not have to do this, so this will be another advantage for EA once it goes private. So this will allow EA to course correct and make any adjustments they want without all that pressure, scrutiny, or backlash from its investors. So we will see these unnecessary socio-political statements forced into literally any and all games, regardless of the game's lore, setting, genre, etc., disappear. That doesn't mean new ones won't take their place though. I would obviously hope not, but this is kind of a 50-50 situation right now. Unless the new owners come in, we won't really know how things are going to go down. However, I feel like this won't happen, and if it does, it won't happen to the degree we've seen it happen with the nonsensical gender ideology propaganda. Why, you may ask? Well, the obvious reason is that there is no way Saudi Arabia would support, much less fund, such nonsense when games that are released there need to be sanitized of anything gay first, if the game is even allowed to be sold there in the first place. However, there is one more equally simple reason why I think this won't happen. Because this private acquisition means one thing and one thing only. They see profit in this deal, and massive profit at that. So they've seen what this nonsense has done to games, their studios, as well as their publishers and their stock. So either they will not risk adding any kind of socio-political messages again, or the IP will just get sold, so they couldn't care less what the new owner does with it, to be honest. So when it comes to EA, I do not personally think they will risk doing something like this, or at least I hope not, especially since it doesn't make any financial sense. So yeah, like I said, one of my fears is that while we're leaving the era of left influence in games behind us, we're witnessing the ushering of a new era of foreign influence in games instead. We talked about this in that other video about Asian studios also taking over Western ones, and while it is a logical and understandable consequence of the Western studios' actions and decisions, it is beginning to feel like the walls are starting to close in on the Western studios altogether. My hope is that the risk of losing money will outweigh any potential desire to swing the pendulum on the other side, however, so whether this will turn into an actual negative thing, well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see for now. Another negative thing that will come out of this deal is, again, not really a negative. I mean, while it is objectively a negative thing since people are going to lose their jobs, subjectively, I, as well as many other gamers, just don't really care anymore. I am, of course, talking about the fact that studios will have to be shut down. That is the unfortunate reality of consequences finally catching up with many of these studios. Just like in any other job, if you do not do it correctly, you're getting fired. So I'm sorry, but this is just how things work. We all make choices and we have to live with their consequences. You might postpone them, but you cannot outrun them. They do eventually catch up to you, and for many EA-owned studios, the time has finally come. So the real question here is, will this be a good or a bad thing? And for the most part, I think we will just have to wait and see how things actually play out once the new owners are actually in charge to clearly see if things are going one way or the other. But as of right now, I do think this is more of a positive rather than a negative thing. Generally speaking, publicly owned companies always opt for quick and easy money in order to meet quarterly profit targets instead of going for what is best long term for the company, for example. So this is their chance, because this will allow EA to show us whether all their recent fumbles were truly a result of them being pressured by investors or not. Who knows, maybe we will witness the revival of old EA, or maybe we will see them crash and burn like they have caused so many acquired studios to do in the past. Or we will just see all its assets sold off to the highest bidder instead. In any case, I still think this is a better alternative to what has been going on with them and their studios up until now. In other words, this is rock bottom for EA, so to me, the only way this could possibly go is up. And do not get me wrong, I do not have any false beliefs or misconceptions about their live service games, as those are essentially money printers for them, but I do think single-player games and IPs could have another chance, either under new and improved management or in the hands of a more competent and less politically driven studio.